Really excited to be doing this today, and whenever I do events like this, very mindful and appreciative and grateful of your time and giving your time for this. And so I never do this as just to share some cool ideas or to educate you or to sell anything. It's never around that. For me, it's about helping you to have a breakthrough. That's why we don't call them webinars. This is a web masterclass. This is designed to move your business or you or your thinking forward in some way. There's a lot of things out there that I don't think are high enough quality, and the effort and time we all put into this to really create something that can help you to kind of change direction slightly or to leap forward or something like that is what we're fully committed to here. So I'm sure many of you know who I am. My name is James Ashford. I'm the founder of Go Proposal, which is the pricing and proposal and letter of engagement software that we use to ensure that we price consistently and eliminate scope creep in our accounting firm. It was first incubated in the firm which I'm now a director of, which was called My Accountancy Place. It's now called MAP, and that's based in Manchester. And for those that don't know the story, I'm here today in Yorkshire, and I was originally looking for an accountant, and I travelled to Manchester and met with Paul, and just a really sharp guy. I felt that he was a business owner first and an accountant second. You know, he had an accounting business. He was very entrepreneurial in his thinking, and that really aligned with me. So the fact that he was charging me for everything, he had these beautiful spreadsheets. You guys love spreadsheets, right? He had these amazing spreadsheets. So if you wanted something, you were paying for it. And because he demonstrated that commercial acumen, to me, that kind of gave me confidence, because my thinking is if he doesn't know how to charge me properly or sell me what I need, what chance has he got of helping me to do the same in my business? So I felt very confident about that. But when he got to the point of, right, how do I sign up? He wasn't able to do that. He said, I'll send you a proposal out. At which point my confidence significantly dropped, because he just told me he was going to save me time and that he was a digital expert, but he couldn't do this with me while I was there. While he had my attention, while he had my focus, it took too long for him to do. And I read a quote recently online, and it said something like proudly, if you can send your proposal out within 24 hours of a proposal meeting, you've got this higher success rate, higher chance of getting someone to sign up. And my thinking is, if it takes you 24 hours to send a proposal out, you're about a day too late, right? So I said to Paul, look, I've developed some technology that I've been using in my marketing business, and it's meandered through various businesses and industries now that would actually solve this problem. And if we merged it with your pricing, we could do this on the spot in 2 or 3 minutes. And we developed a product. We called it the 3-minute proposal tool that we used in this firm. I wasn't a director of it at the time, but on the strength of that, Paul felt that I was able to bring something very different to his business, because you know what it's like, guys. You're so close to the action. You're kind of trapped in it. You can't see the wood for the trees sometimes, and sometimes you just need someone from the outside. I'm not an accountant, I'm a designer, to say, I think you could do this differently, because very often we just carry on doing what we've always done. And if we keep doing that, I always used to think that if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. But as Paul Shrimplin said in a recent talk of his, no, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll get less, because other people will be kind of doing those things and leaving you behind. So you've got to keep evolving and keep moving forward. And off the back of that, Paul made me a director of MAP. Go Proposal became a product that we rolled out to thousands of accountancy firms now around the world, which is wonderful. And Paul's the director of that business as well. So we kind of move forward as a force in the world. Now, most people know that story. Not a lot of people know that my background is I'm actually a product designer. And I've got a master's degree, so I've actually got letters after my name too. I know you guys love putting your letters after your name on LinkedIn or wherever it is, and rightly so. You've earned those qualifications. I know how hard you work for that, but I work hard for mine as well. So I've got a master's degree in product design, and what a product designer is able to do, what a designer is trained to do at this level, is to first of all discover what the real problem is, not the problem which someone's presenting them with. It might be this is the problem we think it is. But in actual fact, it's my job to get under the skin of that and say, is that really the problem? And so my first job is to discover what the real problem is, what the core problem is, and then to be able to communicate that problem back to you better than you understand it yourself. Because once we've got clarity around the problem, solving it becomes far easier, and then it's my job as a designer to solve that problem. And what I found was that if I took that design ability, I was able to then apply that to businesses and apply that same thinking to businesses. And I've worked with many businesses over the years to help challenge them. I've realized I've not explained the picture on there, sorry. This morning I Googled myself and just tried to type me in as a product designer and to see if I could find anything when I graduated. And the only thing I could find was this toilet that I designed. It was my main project. It won loads of awards. And it was on TV, for those in the UK, if you remember Big Breakfast and Invention Corner, it was on that, and it won an award in The Guardian and various other things. So if you Google me, James Asher Product Designer, you will find that toilet with quite a funny article about it. But that was the only picture I can find to kind of prove that I once designed something. So, as I said, guys, the point of this session is to have a breakthrough. People think that breakthroughs take time. They don't. Breakthroughs are instant events. Breakthroughs happen when you say enough's enough. We're not doing this anymore, or we must make this change. We're not going to tolerate this. We have to do this. It's preparing to make the breakthrough, getting fired up to make the breakthrough, discovering the strategy to make the breakthrough, finding the bravery to make the breakthrough is what takes the time. But the moment you've got it, then the breakthrough is an instant event. And so I'm always hopeful on masterclasses like this that I'm actually able to help somebody to make that breakthrough today. But in order to make a breakthrough, 3 things need to be in place. The first thing is you need a map. You need to know how to go from where you are to where ideally you want to get to. You also need to know where you want to get to, right? So you need to know where you want to get to, you need to know what you're moving away from, and you need a map to get there. And ideally you want a proven map. So we call this modeling. So you want to model the success that other people have had, and you want to take that, and you're going to make your own journey on the way, but it's a really good starting point. And I never stand here, guys, and say we figured all this out in our firm and we're perfect, because we're absolutely not. We are work in progress, but we're constantly evolving, we're constantly moving forward. And the things that we do learn and that I feel we do get right, we willingly share those, as do the many people that are on board with us on this journey. Very generous, very entrepreneurial accountants. And for me, that's how you grow. You know, it's about reaching a hand up and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can somebody help? Throwing the hand up, and at the same time reaching a hand back down and saying, hey, I've got you, let me help you to get up here as well. And so long as we all keep doing that, kind of pulling the people up behind us and throwing a hand up to the people ahead, that's how we move forward and we progress. So the first thing we need is the map, but the second thing we need is the mindset. And the map, I think, probably accounts for like 10%, right? We think it accounts for more. The mindset is massive. The mindset is nearly everything. And it's not just your mindset. It's your business partner's mindset. It might be your life partner's mindset. It's your team's mindset. And the mindset has to align with the map. If the mindset is not aligned with the map, you won't move forward. Another way of thinking of the mindset is that it's the story that you tell yourself. And very often it's the story that you keep telling yourself as to why you can't move forward that's the thing that's keeping you fixed. And I'm going to be challenging one key mindset today that I feel is holding the majority of people back. And it's something that goes very often unnoticed, and it's very deep, and I'm going to be calling it out later on today. I think it's a very interesting idea, and it's probably not what you think it is. So it's really important that we challenge the mindset. And then the final thing is the motivation. If you know where you're going, you've got the map, you've got the mindset aligned, the final thing now is the motivation. And I'm always interested in the etymology of words, right? So the origins of the word motivation come from the Latin motivus, which simply means to move. All we have to do to get motivation, it's not like you're waiting to wake up like, come on, I'm ready to run through this wall now. All motivation is that step. And that builds motivation. We have to move forward. And the power that moves us forward is decisions. If people are making notes and you're writing things down, write the word decisions. Decisions is what makes things move forward. Make decisions is what moves us forward continually. Very often we become afraid of making the wrong decision, and so we make no decision. But it's proven that in actual fact, making the wrong decision can be better, in fact is nearly always better than making no decision. Because guess what? You can make another decision. But deciding just starts to build that momentum and gets us moving forward. So map, mindset, and motivation. And the other thing I always call out on this as well is that you're listening to 2 voices right now. You've got my voice, which is talking at 300 words a minute, and you've also got the voice in your head, which is talking at 1,200 words a minute. And it's that voice in your head that's trying to get you off the hook. It's trying to convince you that you're in your comfort zone, and if we move into this space, it's going to be dangerous, and it's moving out of our comfort zone. But the reality is that not a lot of you are comfortable where you are. And it's just your safety zone that you've convinced yourself. In actual fact, if we can move, we can become more comfortable. So it's really key to challenge the voice, guys. So if I say something and the voice says to you, that's never going to work for us, or my staff will never take that on board, my clients will never do that, it'll never work in this town, etc. You need to challenge that voice and say, but what if it would? Let's try it. Let's run an experiment. Let's see what happens. And then if the voice says, yeah, we already know this stuff, challenge the voice and say, but are we doing anything about it? And if the voice says, yeah, we're doing something or we've done something, could we do something again? Could we do more? Could we try it in a different way? So it's just to be mindful of that voice and for you to challenge it, guys. Okay, so I'm now going to give you a glimpse of an accountancy firm that I don't think you'll have seen before. So back to what I said at the start about us, my job is to kind of see what the issue is, see what the real problem is, and to then try and communicate that in a way that everybody understands. I've managed to reduce this down and to simplify it, but it's been a lot of work to simplify it to this. So here we go. The view of an accounting firm that you've never seen before. That's just like a dramatic build-up. So inside an accounting firm, there's three things that we need to do. There's three functions that we need to have. And the first one is to impact our clients. Impacting our clients is our true north. It's the thing that's going to keep guiding us. If you're ever struggling in terms of which direction to go or what to do, the question we ask ourselves is, does this help us to serve our clients better? Does it help us to impact their business to a higher level? And if it does, carry on, move forward. So our primary, I'm going to come on to a primary function, but our reason why, as Timothy would say, our goal, our motivation, our thing for getting out of bed in the morning is to impact clients and to impact them personally in their personal lives and in their business lives as well. The next thing is to create a thriving culture. You can't grow your business. All you can do is grow your team and they will grow your business for you. Very often I see accounting firm owners getting in the way of their team or restricting the culture. And what we've got to do is you've got to light a fire underneath them. You've got to get them fired up and excited. You've got to show them why we're going this way, where we're going. And then you've also got to get out of the way and let them take things forward and let them move forward. You've got to become their mentor and their coach. You've got to manage the culture. You've got to make sure that people are a good culture fit. You've got to be prepared to move people if they're not and move them out, either into different seats in the business or out of the business completely, and only accept people who are a good culture fit. And if you realize you've got someone who's good at what they do, but they're not a good culture fit, and you decide to keep them, you can now no longer blame them for anything. It's entirely on you, any issues that come off the back of that. So we want to impact our clients. We can't do that on our own, so we have to create a thriving culture to be able to do that. And the only way we can do both those things is by making money. And making money is the primary function of the business. It's not your reason why, it's not your motivation, but it's the primary function. And we have to accept this fact, because unless we make money, we can't do all of the other things. We can't impact our clients. We can't invest in our team. We can't do good marketing to get the right people on board. We can't take time out to do training like this. We can't create great offices and great spaces and everything else that goes with that. We can't survive at a very basic level, can't pay wages. And I get to speak to firms who can be in this situation. I help them to move out of it. But first they have to accept that we need to make money, and that's the primary function. And guys, I get to see so many of you. You're so nice. You're lovely, right? Really nice. But sometimes being nice is getting in the way of you being kind. And sometimes to be kind, you have to charge for things. And the first person to be kind to is yourself. None of your clients are coming to your funeral, right? You have to be kind to yourself first. And by being kind to yourself is by making cash. Some people think that making money is the root of all evil. Lack of money is the root of all evil. So we need to get cool with the fact that we're making cash. Can I just get like a comment like, I want to make money, I'm happy to make money, I like money, I deserve to make money. Can we just kind of have a second to acknowledge that and just confirm that? Please show me the money. Beautiful. Amen. It's a beautiful thing. And it's why your clients are coming to you. They want to do the same thing, right? If they can't do it, if you can't do it for yourself, what chance have you got of helping your clients to do the same? And that's what they want to do. You can use money for so many good reasons. You can invest it. You can do so many things. Cool. Right. If we're able to achieve all those things, to make money, to impact our clients, and to create a thriving culture, we can possibly achieve the final thing, which is joy and fulfillment. And deep down, that's what you all want. We all want the same thing. We want to get out of bed in the morning and be excited to face the challenges of our day, because growing a business, building a business is hard. And if you can find joy and fulfillment in what you do through your business, guys, you've cracked it, because that is all any of us are trying to do. Joy and fulfillment in our personal lives, joy and fulfillment in our business lives as well. And that comes by growing and having growth in every area, and then contribution as well, and giving back and sharing and helping to make the world a bit of a better place because you are here. So that for me is what we're trying to achieve, guys, if you want to take a screenshot of that. But the thing that causes this to be out of balance is there are some problems that we encounter, right? And there are surface problems and there are core problems. And the difference between these two things is really important to acknowledge. So a simple analogy is, if you imagine a surface problem is, let's say I got an outbreak of spots, right? That's the surface problem. And people tend to attack the surface problems. They'll put creams and potions and lotions and various things on it, trying to solve that, but they don't address the core problem, because maybe they don't know what the core problem is, or the core problem is harder, or it challenges our mindset, right? Because for me, to get rid of those spots might be that I need to change my diet, exercise more, get more sunshine, reduce my stress, drink more water, okay? They're fundamental changes. But if I make those changes, the spots disappear. And I see a lot of people attacking the surface problems in their business because they're not aware of what the core problems are. And if we look at what those surface problems are, it's over-servicing our clients. It's going above and beyond and saying yes when we should really say no. And I'm going to tackle the reason why we do that and what you're really afraid of when you do that. It's the fact that we're underpaid, because maybe you're scared of asking for that extra money and asking for the money that you're really worth. And again, there's a reason why we do it. Money's never an issue. Clients have money, right? I've got my iPhone. What iPhones cost $1,000. Every client you've got has probably got £1,000 iPhone, right? They've got money. They find cash to spend on things. It's something else that's going on. Money's just an excuse. But very often we're underpaid for what we do. You're undervalued. The clients don't value what you do, and therefore you think that they're a bad client and you try and replace them with a better client. But really, it's because we've not addressed the other issues. So you've actually created a machine that continues to create bad clients, and we're not addressing that. We're very often unsystemized because accounting services are complicated, right, guys? And so you've got different staff doing things in different ways, and you've not kind of pulled that together or got the right tech or the right processes. So very often we can be unsystemized, and you're just happy that that member of staff's doing the work, right? And then not only is accounting services complicated, but clients are complex. And when you can't control complexity, you can only ever manage it, okay? And if you've got all these clients that we're not managing correctly, then we get chaos. And when we start getting unsystemized and we become chaotic, that's when we lead to real overwhelm. And that's when we just can't see a way out. And overwhelm leads to stress, leads to depression, can really have a knock-on effect to move forward. But whenever we get overwhelmed, it's always a gift. And it's always, the gift of overwhelm has a message for us, which is prioritize. You've got to sort one thing out. And what I want to share with you today is what I think that thing is, which is getting into the core problem. So in the core of our business, in your accounting business, we have something called the value exchange system. And the value exchange system is made of two parts. It's the fuel. It's the core fuel that makes everything else happen. And if this is out of balance, if this doesn't work, the whole system gets no power. And the value exchange system is simply whereby we agree that I'm going to give the client some value. That's the scope of work. So this is the value that I'm going to give the client in exchange for the value that you're going to give me back, which is the price. So that's the value exchange system. And they're the two things that need to be in balance and need to be large. The thing that fuels that is our ability to sell. If we can't sell, if we can't make a sale, the value exchange system doesn't work, because it's a sale that makes the value exchange system tick. And very often, you've trained to be an accountant, you trained for years, you studied hard, you passed your qualifications, and your skill set is up here. And when we think about selling, we think about it being down here because you've experienced so many bad salespeople in your life. What I want to do is try and flip that and show you that sales and becoming a great salesperson is the highest level skill that we can have. And the first sale you all have to make, guys, is to yourself. Because if we can't do that, if you can't sell yourself on how good you are, if you can't give yourself the confidence on what great value you can bring to the world, there is no way that we can get this value exchange system working. So, what typically happens in a business when you first meet a client is the client will ask for extra things. They will want more things from you, and they're not doing it to scam you. They're doing it because it's fair enough to ask, yeah, but I want this. I want to do it weekly instead of monthly. I want you to add this on as well. And if you don't have a way of really managing that scope or that price very quickly, it very quickly creeps, okay? And so it comes out of balance on day one. And you've got to wrestle this. You've got to wrestle it into position. You cannot allow that to happen, and it's hard. But you've got to put the effort in early on in the relationship is where you take control of this. Because then after the start of the relationship, the bad news is, my clicker works, it gets worse. As time goes on, it grows, and this imbalance goes out. And the moment you get this imbalance like this, which is 99.9% of accountancy firms out there, I'm sure, that's when you start to create all of those surface problems. And people tackle the surface problems because they're not tackling this. They're not getting into the core issues here. What I want to show you today is how we bring that into balance, how we establish the balance in the value exchange system, how we tackle what the core is, how we get these two things moving now and forevermore with every single client, every single time, so that we can remove those surface issues. Because once that happens, these surface issues will start to go, I promise you, and you'll be left with something that you can get joy and fulfillment from. And I believe in this so strongly. I've commissioned this animation, guys. I mean, this wasn't cheap. To get this animation done, I had to pay extra for this ending, yeah? I felt it needed to wrap up in some cool way, right? So I paid extra just to have this ending done to present this to you. That's how much I believe in this model. Can I get a hell yeah? Can I get a high five for this? So the place this starts, guys, is when we're sat with a client and we're going through, and Go Proposal members will know this, we agree what their revenue range is, we agree the engagement dates, we're going to agree the software that we're going to be providing those clients with, and we charge for software in our firm, guys. We charge what the client would have to pay if they went direct to the software company. We would agree bank reconciliation and exactly how many transactions we're reconciling for. If they want it weekly, that's fine, but guess what? They're going to pay for it. Compliance services, annual accounts, the quality of their record keeping that we decide. We're in control of what quality of their record keeping is. How many staff they've got, directors' tax returns, etc., etc. Are we going to be doing management accounts for you? And at the end of this process, we're going to show them the price whilst we're in front of them. And this is the first part of this, guys. I want you to start picturing when you're having this conversation with clients in your head that you've got that core in balance. If you do this after the meeting, if you send it after a Zoom meeting or after a face-to-face meeting, I know why you do it, because you may be afraid of having a conversation with them about price. What if they ask this? What if they ask that? What if they say it's too much? So I'll wait till the meeting's done and I'll send it through afterwards. The moment you do that, that side of the scope will start to grow and the side of the price will start to shrink, because there'll be things in there that they don't want or they don't know about. They'll sneak extra things in there, and because you're not face to face, it's difficult to have that conversation. We've got in here, guys, as you know, Go Proposal members, the alignment fee, which is a fee that we charge because we started that client part way through their financial year, and because annual accounts in this case is prorated over the full 12 months, they miss the first 2 months of payment, so they have to make that payment now. So they can either pay it as a one-off payment or we can spread that payment over the next 10 months. That's a difficult thing to explain, right? I know we've articulated it clearly here, but I want to explain that to a client face to face. Because then if they say to me, I think that's unfair, or my other accountant didn't charge me for that, no, because they don't know how to price their services properly, which is why they can't deliver the level of service that you really want, which is why you're sat in front of me right now, okay? I want to have that conversation with them now, not when I'm trying to ring them and they're on a school run or they're coming out of a meeting or something like that, right? So I want to control this. I want to ask the difficult questions now. And if they say, hey, well, that's too much. Okay, Well, let's review the pricing. Let's see what we've got in there. And let's see how we can bring the price down, because I'm not going to reduce my price. I'll take services out. Okay. So let's have a look in here. We've got tax returns. Let me show you how we do our VAT returns, our tax returns. But if you don't want them, let's put them on your roadmap to consider in the future. Monthly management accounts. Let's go for quarterly management accounts. But I think you're going to want to revisit this at some point in the future. And bank rec, let's go monthly instead of weekly. That'll drop the price slightly. So we're looking now. Let's just do a quick recalculation of price. It's coming out just over £500. How does that look for you? Does that work for you? Still too much? I need it under £500. Hey guys, not a problem. We want to work with you. You don't need to rush this. Let's take quarterly management accounts out. But again, let's put it on your roadmap to consider. And now we've brought it in under £500. Are you happy to start there? This isn't a transaction. This is a long-term, lifelong relationship with this client. Hey, we don't need to get married and have kids now. If they just want to go for a coffee or go to the cinema, that's fine. We're building a long-term relationship here. So long as that fee is above our minimum monthly fee, we're happy to meet them where they are. But then we've got to articulate not only that price that we're charging for them, but we've got to articulate the scope as well, very, very clearly to every single stakeholder in this relationship, so that we can go through and show them, this is what it's going to cost you. This is the alignment fee and how that's going to work. This is how you're going to sign up with us. This is what the tech stack is that we're going to be implementing for you. And this is the exact level of service that we are agreeing now. I'm going to run through this with you so you understand exactly what you're getting and what you're not going to get. And you're also going to be able to see what's on your roadmap as well. And here's your letter of engagement with any service schedules in there, because it's not just you that needs to know this. It's not just the client that needs to know this. It's every member of their team that's going to be involved in interacting with you. It's every member of your team that's going to be serving that client. So we've got to get this agreed instantly in front of them, because if we don't do this and we don't have that conversation while we're with them, guess what? It's never going to move forward and it's never going to work. Even if they say difficult things like, that's too much, I didn't want to spend that much. Okay, tell me why. And ideally, want to at least be able to get them to sign up on the spot if they want to, but I would never ever pressure anyone in this. But that's why we're trying to achieve this, because I want to manage them two halves of the circle. You've got to have these conversations at some point. So if we don't have them up front, that's going to happen and it's going to flip out. That's why I want to do that here. I want to preserve that balance, and you've got to wrestle that into shape. But you're better off having a slightly difficult conversation now than a much harder one further down the line, because the other one will be much, much more painful, I promise you, if we don't grab hold of this. So we've got to prevent this from happening. One of the ways that we decided to prevent this from happening was something that we learned from the air industry. And I'm actually, my office here in Yorkshire is based at the airport, so I get to see planes flying about. It's a huge plane outside. I'll do a photograph when I go out. This plane is absolutely massive. It's ridiculous, right? But something that we learn from air travel is the 1 in 60 rule. So what the 1 in 60 rule says is, if an aeroplane is flying 120 miles, nautical miles, after flying 60 nautical miles, if it is 1 degree out, it will be 1 whole mile away from off its destination. And if you carry that on for another 60 miles, it's going to be another mile out. So every mile you travel, every 60 miles you travel, just being 1 degree out, you're a mile off. You're a mile away from where you want to be. And that's how most accountancy firms operate with their clients. So we took inspiration from that and we developed something called the 1-3-12 rule, because it's impossible to know at the start of the year what someone will need at the end of their year. In fact, it's impossible to know what someone's going to need in 3 months' time at the start of their year, right? So we need these checks to be able to move these 1 degrees and to bring things in alignment and to explain to the client why you're doing that and to have the confidence to do that, so that we're not creating this situation. So what the 1-3-12 rule says is that every month we are going to carry a fee review out for payroll. So if you're a client of ours and you're paying this amount every single month, and next month you've got a new member of staff, I'm going to ping open the proposal. I'm going to go in and change the number of employees. I'm going to get a new calculation. I'm going to send you the proposal. I'm going to ring you up and say, hey, I've seen you take a new member of staff on. That's fantastic. You got a new proposal just sent through to you. Or you could do it. You could do it before. You could do it while you're on the phone. I've just produced a new proposal for you. There's a small increase in your fee. Your fee will be automatically adjusted with Go Cardless if that's what you use. Here's the key question, guys. Is there anything else I can help you with? So you're not saying, oh, we've got this new fee, we're going to have to charge you more, I'm really sorry. There's no apology in it. Hey, great news, you got a new member of staff. Fantastic, you're growing. I've taken care of all this for you. We're going to run their payroll for them, okay? So is there anything else I can help you with? This is a super, super positive thing. How do you keep track of the changes of the service being provided? We'll come back to that, Sue. Keep hold of that question, Sue. We'll return to that question at the end. I meant to meet a firm last year, brilliant firm. I love them to bits. They're really great. And they're bringing in new services, advisory services, etc. And I got speaking to the payroll clerk when I was there. And I said, do you do this? Do you add extra members of staff on? She said, oh, it's only one extra member of staff. It only takes me 2 minutes work. I said, are you joking? It took you 20 years to figure out how to do it in 2 minutes. And if I ever have an issue, I know that you can solve it. It's like an insurance policy for me, right? So I want to pay you that extra amount of money. And they were looking at taking on these new advisory, expensive, difficult, challenging services. There was about £300 a month that they were letting slip through their fingers because of these little extra charges, these little tweaks in the growth, right? And so what we got them to do, what we got their payroll clerk to do, is to start adding these extra members of staff on by putting the power in their hands. The next one is every 3 months, we're going to reevaluate bookkeeping. We charge based on the number of transactions. So you've got to get that data out of their system. There's a couple of ways of doing that. If you use Xero, then if you plug in Xavier, which is a fantastic product for so many other reasons, but one small benefit is that it will give you that transactional data that you can use to quote a client with. And if you're using QuickBooks, they have a product, I always forget what it's called, Client Overview. And they've just implemented a new feature for us off the back of our request, where now you can analyze how many transactions they've got going through over the last 3 months. It used to be 12 months before, averaged it out over 12 months. Now you can review that over 3 months for this exact thing that I'm showing you now. So the idea, again, is we can pop open the account, and we've got bookkeepers doing this, ringing the client up and saying, hey, you've got more transactions going through, fantastic. You must be doing something right. There's a small increase in your fee. I've produced you a new proposal. Is there anything else I can help you with while I've got you on the call? What, I've got to pay for those extra services? Absolutely. Because if I don't charge you for those services, there's no way I can deliver those extra services for you. Well, I don't want to pay more. Okay, well, if you don't want to pay any more, we've got a couple of options. One is you could do those additional transactions yourself, and I can send you some documentation through if you want to do that. Or what, you want me to hit you with a surprise bill later on throughout the year because we're going to have to do it for you anyway? I respect our relationship too much. I want to do this extra work for you to free your time up to focus on your core business activities. But if I'm going to do this extra work for you, there is time associated with that, there's value that you're getting, and therefore there's a charge for it. Do you think that's fair? And we want to have this conversation with them. The next thing is for new clients as well. So after the first 3 months of engaging a new client, we do the first fee review, a full fee review on absolutely everything, because you've no idea what you're getting into with a new client. And we would call this out and make it very clear. In fact, as soon as we've onboarded them, we would schedule the date for their first fee review so there is no surprises. So it may be that you go back to that client and saying, hey, we've got this fee here. I'm looking through your accounts. We thought your accounts were okay. They're not. They're a shoebox, right? So your fee's going to go up to just under £500. Crikey, I don't want to pay that extra amount. Okay. Well, if we can get the quality of your record keeping to be excellent, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if we handle the credit control for you, the invoice fetching, and if I can pay your staff for you and we can raise some invoices for you, I know I can get the quality of your record keeping to be excellent. It's also going to free up a significant amount of your time. It's going to move the price up to this. Is there value in that for you, or do you just want to pay the higher fee and you still do the extra work? It's not a sales spin, it's not a spiel, it's just an honest conversation with somebody and getting under the skin and being prepared to have that conversation with somebody after 3 months. And then finally, 12 months, we review everything else with that client. We use something called the gloss method to be able to do that, which allows us, it's a consultative sales framework that allows us to go through their goals, where they're heading, where they are now, obstacles in the way, how fast they want to go, and then we'd be able to present the new solution to them. Not got time to go into this now. I've got videos online. I can share some documentation with you around this, and we've got some really advanced training coming for our Go Proposal members soon. I'll show you how to get this, guys. We've just recorded a whole session on this, which is such a deep dive. It is so, so good. But yeah, that's cool. So I'll share that with you. So one of the issues that prevents all of this, let me read that question so I'm distracted by Tim's question here. Your points client are going up for a 6-month fee review and the relationship is an annual piece of work. But your clients are not going to go for a 6-month fee review when the relationship is an annual piece of work. If it's just a one-off piece of work, yeah, completely agree with that, Tim. If you're not doing things on a regular basis with annual accounts that we provide to our clients, because we use Xavier to give them a report every 3 months, which is a health check of their account. So they get a quarterly call from us with our annual account service. So they will be getting things continually throughout the year. I do agree, if it's just a tax return, for example, you're not going to set the price for a tax return at the start of the year and then review it, or you might, based on what I'm going to show you shortly. But anyway, keep that question in mind. Good question. One of the issues that you have with doing this is you're sat there listening to this now, or stood there, and you're thinking, this is all cool, James, but I'm totally maxed out with everything that we've got. We just got through January, which was an absolute nightmare. Things don't seem to have abated at all. When the hell do you think I'm going to get to do this, right? And this is what I observed when I first met Matt and Paul. So Paul was having the client relationships. He was having the initial meetings with clients and doing proposals. And then he was then passing that information back to his team to deliver the work. The team were then relaying information back to Paul about when fee reviews needed to happen. But guess what? Paul became the bottleneck in the whole process. And he restricted things from happening and from moving forward. So what we did was we flipped it and we said, hey, let's get the team having the conversation with the clients. Let's give them the technology and the tools and the confidence and the training to be able to do initial proposal meetings with the client and to be able to do regular fee reviews as well. Let's get Paul in support of them, mentoring them, and let's give them Go Proposal as the system that we can be inputting so they've got the confidence and the backup that we're using a consistent framework to be able to have these conversations, to completely remove any emotion out of it. Accountants by their nature are logical people. Go Proposal is not a sales tool. Go Proposal is a closing tool. Sales requires emotion. Closing requires logic. Go Proposal was designed with an accountant's mindset in mind so that we could empower our entire team to do it. We've now got 24 members of staff in MAP. 3 of those are offshore. The rest are in the UK. So that's 21. And I would say 12 of those carry out fee reviews and that they're carrying out client initial meetings as well with our clients. But I know what you're thinking. Let's do a quick mind reading session. 1 second. I'm just going to mind read everybody here. Got it. But is what you're thinking. They won't want to do it. My staff won't want to do that. They're maxed out with what they're doing already. They're not going to be happy about adding this on as an extra task. Why would they want to do that? They don't even know how to do it, right? They've never even seen how to do this. They've never been shown how to do it. And what if they get it wrong, okay? What if they go and do this and massively mess up on a client? What if they just completely undercharge a client? I'm the best person to do it, but I'm totally maxed out, right? So if you're the manager of the firm or you're a partner, you know that you're probably the best placed person to do all this stuff, right? And you know that if you were to do this, if you was to establish your pricing, price a client, have that conversation, do a gloss review, whatever it is, right? You're going to max it out at 90%. You are going to nail this. You're going to be high-fiving people, right? But the reality is you're doing it at 0% because you don't have time to do it. So you're frustrated because you want to do it at 90%. You don't want to let your staff do it because they'd only be able to do it 60% or 70% right. So therefore you retaining it, but you're doing it at 0% because you don't have time to do it. You're better off getting your team to do it at 70% right, and then for you to coach them and train them and get them to 71% right, 75% right, because now we've got a team doing this. And when you can get them to do this, you can get them to do other things as well. And time again, they won't want to do it. Really? Have you asked them? Have you asked them if they want to do it? They don't know how to do it. We do training. We do 3 live training sessions every single week. You can get your team on board with us. We'll train them. We'll take care of the training for you. We'll show them how to do it. What if they get it wrong? What do you really mean by that? What if they get it wrong? That they reprice every client and it goes wrong? That's not going to happen. But it's the first bit. They won't want to do it. Have you asked them? Do they know why it would be in their interest to do it? Because I'm sure they're frustrated when they're running payroll for a client and they're doing 10 payrolls for a client, and they know the client's only paying for 5 of them because now that client doesn't value the work that they do. And they just keep piling the work on. That makes that member of staff feel very unvalued. And what we've got to do is we've got to train them in why they're doing this, because then they'll build the motivation to do this. Great question, sir. I'm worried they would not know what to say to client objections. When you start to look at client objections, there's not that many. We've got a really good firm down south called Total Accounting, run by Anne Spickett. She did role plays with her staff where they went through every objection. You know, people being rude or swearing or whatever. And it turned out there weren't that many, and they handled them. But sometimes they're not objections, they're just complaints, right? And you don't need to make the sale if you're able to fill that client with confidence. The only reason we have objections is because we've not communicated confidence, and it's a different thing that we need to do. It's not about sales training, it's about confidence training. But it's a great question to do, and I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it later on. And what you do by doing this is you move up the ladder of leadership. The left-hand side is what the worker says. Tell me what to do, or I see this, or I recommend this, or I would like to do this. I intend to do this. What this allows them to do, how good would it feel if a member of staff came back and said, I've done this, I've tried this, I've been doing this, these are the results. How would you feel if you empowered your team to do that? That's the thing that really would start to allow things to move forward. Let me give you a couple of examples of this. Let's say you've got a member of staff and they're the people on the front line. They're the people with the information, right? You're the person up here with the authority. They're trying to pass the information to you to make a decision, but that is such a convoluted process that it never happens. So what we want to try and do is push the authority down to the member of staff so they can make a decision. So let's say, for example, imagine this. I want you to just picture this, guys. Imagine this is happening today. A member of staff comes to you and says, hey, I've been looking through some of our clients, and it turns out that restaurants just take up more time than any other type of client that we've got. I don't know if it's the point of sale units or whatever it is, but something is taking more time in there, and it's about 20%, 10 to 20% more time it's taken up to complete an annual accounts for restaurants. So I've got this idea I'd like to run by you. I've put it into the system already. So what I want to do is I've looked at what we're charging for annual accounts for these type of clients already at this revenue range. And what I've done is I've just introduced a new factor here that says industry. And if it's a restaurant, what I'm proposing is that we increase the fee by 20%. So I've put that in the system. I'd love to give it a try. I'm meeting with a restaurant next week. Are you happy for me to go and try that with a client? I mean, how amazing would that be for a member of staff to be able to go and do that and try that? I'm not sure how would a member of staff without a full knowledge of each of the services being offered and the ability to give the advice to service be able to take an initial meeting. That's a great point, Brett. In the initial meeting, you do need someone of a high enough level to be able to do that initial meeting. So just to clarify that question, in our firm, of our 25 staff, we had 5 people that be able to do an initial meeting for a standard to complex engagement. If it was simple, just like a tax return, then maybe 12 people could do that. But I completely agree. That's a different skill set, but there is nothing stopping a payroll clerk or a bookkeeper. 17-year-old Sam, I always say this, our youngest bookkeeper at the time, was doing fee reviews with our clients. Clients turning over a significant amount of money. So yeah, great point, Brett. Completely agree. That's a different, more involved skill set that you want to train them in. But doing the regular fee reviews, you can really empower many more team members to do that. Or let's say one of your team members watched the video that I did with Ewan Brown. If Ewan's still on here, Ewan shared a brilliant video with us. Because what Ewan was able to do, when everyone else was stressing out over tax returns in January, Ewan wasn't, because they'd completed them all in December. In fact, the majority were completed in September. And he did that by charging more if the tax return was completed later on in the year. So they put a big push in June to complete tax returns rather than having the big push in January. So imagine a member of your staff watched that video and said, hey, I saw a great video with Ewan to reduce tax return stress in January. They've introduced a factor, which is the completion deadline, okay? So that if that client needs to is going to complete their tax return a month later in October, we're actually going to charge them an extra £50 for that throughout the year. And guess what? If it's going to be November, then it's going to be £100. Now, you can charge what you want. I'm not saying you charge that. That's just what they charge. But the fact that you've got consequences to them not listening to what your requests and that dragging that deadline on means that there's a cost implication to that client. But now you can load that into the system, and now everyone else is going to use that. I've got a tax return I'm doing next week. Can I just try this as a quoting system? It's a very, very different mindset. So here's the thing I want to get under the skin of, guys. What are you really afraid of? So clients refusing to pay more. What if they object to paying more? So back to Sue's point, what if they start to object to this? What if they come up with objections? I don't want to pay this extra amount. That's kind of a concern for you, and especially for a member of staff. It's different. That's a scary thing for you to go and have that conversation. What about clients leaving? What if we go and do this and our clients leave? And in fact, not only that, what if I lose all my clients? That's how our mind works, right? That's that voice in your head that I told you to be careful of. It's not just what if I lose the client, it's what if I lose all of our clients, right? So we need to be mindful of that. But what I want to challenge you on is something deeper than this. That I don't think that's what we're really afraid of. We're not really afraid of the objections. We're not really afraid of losing a client. We're not really afraid of somebody saying, that's too much, I don't want to pay that, you're more than those guys. What we're really afraid of is discovering that you might not be good enough. Because what the real fear that underpins all of this, and I assure you, is it's not the client saying to you, I don't want to pay this extra £200. I don't think I should pay this extra amount of money. What we're really afraid of is pushing the client on that and saying, well, what's the reason you don't want to pay that? Why do you think it's too expensive? And then the response being, because I just don't think you're good enough. I don't think you're able to deliver the level of service that I want. And that is the real fear. And what I want to appeal to you all guys today is you are good enough. I meet so many firms, and it genuinely breaks my heart. I met with one the other week, and he was looking to bring on new clients because his current clients, he'd not carried out fee reviews for 2 years, and he was afraid to have these conversations. And when we scratch beneath the surface, it's because deep down, he was afraid they would reject him. He was afraid they would refuse the price increase, and the fear comes from not being good enough. I want to say to you guys, you are good enough. Yeah, you make mistakes. Every firm out there makes mistakes. I don't care what they post on social media. We all make mistakes. But the very fact that you're here, that you're training, that you're developing yourselves, that you're wanting to move yourselves forward means that you care. You want to grow. You want to serve your clients to higher levels. And so the first thing you have to do is be confident in what you're providing. And that is hard. I know that. But the moment you become confident, you can then start imbuing your clients with that confidence as well. So I've got action time, I've got a few key points, then we're going to go through the questions. All I'm asking for off the back of this is some key action steps, guys. All I'm suggesting, you don't have to go and roll this out or turn this on today. You don't have to do any of that. All I'm suggesting is go and arrange a meeting with your team. Sit them down. I'll send you through a recording of this video. Get them to watch through this video. And then between you, decide where you want to start. It's just a decision, and it's where we want to start. Not where we want to end up, where you want to start. And find your champion. You're scared to death of getting your staff to do this. You don't think your staff are going to want to do it. What if they mess up, etc. You don't have to get all your staff to do this. We just need one. All we're trying to do is to prove that this works. Don't even think that you're making a decision. Just think that you're running an experiment. Let's try and experiment with this member of staff, or let's try and experiment with pricing in this way, and then let's get that member of staff to feed back. What I'm going to ask you to do, guys, is actually to take a step now. It is proven that while you're in this mindset and you're a bit revved up, I know you've got some questions, I'm going to come on to these, while you're excited now, you're fired up about doing this, if you can take that first step now, that will build the motivation. That first step might just be ping an email to your team, open up your email now, ping an email and say, hey guys, we need to schedule a meeting, when's good? Hey guys, has anyone got an hour free tomorrow? Or go and block an hour in your diary now. Go and actually do that thing now so that we can start to build that momentum that will commit you to this process. So whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to look back through some of these questions because I've got a few more points I need to make and I'm also conscious of time. I'm not sure, how would you get a member of staff? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, it will inevitably be easy to get new clients working via this system. Do you have any tips for putting this in place for existing long-term clients who may be stuck in their ways? My challenge to you there, Brett, is it them that are stuck in their ways or is it you that's stuck in your ways? And I say that with love. I don't know, I'm just asking that question. If you're a Go Proposal member and you're in the community, I'm just going to ask Heather to do this. We did a brilliant webinar, in fact it's on our website I think, we did a webinar a year ago, which is Feel the Fear and Reprice Anyway. And we went through this with Paul and looked at his fears. And what he said was he was afraid of doing this. He was afraid of doing this, but he was more afraid of ending up with a business that he wasn't happy with, that was giving him a life that he wasn't happy with. That was his biggest fear. And so he became aware of his biggest fear and he went and did it anyway. But it's like an hour and a half training. It is some of the most in-depth, insightful training you'll get from us. So Brett, I would go and check that out. Having the right systems make me feel I would be good enough and would be able to provide the right level of service. Of course, Eleanor, that's a constant thing. That's where we need to keep improving our level of service. That's a constant battle, but you need to know it's good enough for now. I've lost over the last 12 months because they didn't want to pay the increase. Absolutely, I know that you're changing that, John. I've just signed up to Go Carlos. I'm going to send my first invoice. Oh, that's amazing. Just a practical point. If you redo the proposal, sorry, you just disappeared there, Penny. If you redo the proposal without a repeating invoice, how do you prioritize the backlog of fee reviews? Cool, great point, Penny. Thank you. So we're overhaul, for those Go Proposal members that know, we're overhauling the way that Go Proposal speaks to Xero and to QuickBooks. So that Go Proposal, if you want it to, will be firing the invoice out each month and cancelling the old invoice off. And it will be sending it as an approved invoice, so you don't have that administrative function of creating a recurring invoice, cancelling the old one off and amending it. It's a big piece of work. It's being tested as we speak. So it's set to go live this month. So that's why I wanted to do this webinar, to really align with that, Penny. So great practical question. Well done. Do you have one person per client doing the fee reviews? Just wondering how you organise this, especially in the 3-month, 12-month one. Great question, Marie. What we do is we would have the FD pod member. So we have a pod structure. We have the senior member of that pod that would send the proposal off, but the bookkeeper and the payroll clerk would change the proposal, create the draft proposal for the FD to approve, and they would send it off because they, like you say, or the client manager, they would have the most intimate knowledge of that client and know whether that's right to send that. So everyone else is pulling the data in and doing that. I'm going to come back to the rest of the questions shortly. I just want to make sure that I finish the presentation. We've got to take action now, guys. So fee reviews are not fee reviews, so don't call them fee reviews. Call them service reviews, yeah? Or client reviews, or impact reviews. It's not about the fee you charge or the service you provide. It's about looking at the client and the impact that you can have. You can call them gloss reviews or glow reviews. So a gloss review is goals, location, obstacles, speed, and solution. A glow review is just goals, location, and obstacles. Steal these names if you want, if that works for you. Pricing is never solved. It's only ever tuned. We never get it right. It's constantly evolving. That's why we need as many people into this as possible, constantly improving the process. It's about progress, not perfection. Version 1 is better than version none. Just decide and take those steps forward, because that's the thing that's going to give you this breakthrough. So guys, I'm seeing the questions racking up. I've not forgotten about you. For everyone that's on here, I'm going to send you through our 1-3-12 rule guide that you can share with your team, and this recording as well, for you to play to your team and for you to go back over. To Go Proposal members only, I'm going to send you through our gloss method brochure, but we've also got some exclusive academy training, in-depth training around this that I know you're going to be really excited about, so look out for that one coming. And also, I know we've just launched our apps map feature, which again enables you to confidently communicate the value of the apps that you provide as well. We've got some extra training coming in the community around that, so please keep your eye out for that as well. That will really help you with this. For those who are not Go Proposal members, there are two things that we can help you with if you want to find out more. The first one is for you to go and schedule a demo. So if you want to go and check to see whether Go Proposal is the right fit for you right now, then go and check this link out here. You can go and book a demo with us. We'll answer all of the questions that you've got and we'll help you with that. Be really interested in any training. Sue, if you're a member, you can have whatever training you want. So Jack and the team will run 3 or 4 live Kickstart sessions every single week. You can book onto as many of those as you want, and you can get your team to book onto those as well. We'll go and train your team. If you're already familiar with Go Proposal and you've seen enough, you can just go ahead there and sign up as well. That's cool. So there are 2 ways that we can help you to go and do that, guys. And what I just love, but ask everybody to do on this is please connect with us. Please connect with me online. Just go and search whatever social platform you like, James Ashford, or find Go Proposal. And please just, if you found today interesting, if you found it insightful, or you've learned something, please just go and share one thing that you've learned. Tag us into it and just share that insight, because that's how we grow. You know, we believe in a sense of generosity and constantly giving back to people and sharing things. What we just love to hear as well is you guys sharing that as well. So that's really, really appreciative of that. So I'm just going to run through these questions now, and I'm going to go as long as we need to. So I know we said we'd finish at 11. I've got through the content now, but I'm here for you, so I'll run through the questions. Start with new clients and have the confidence to reprice old ones. That's Logan Khan. Thank you, Logan. You're a great ambassador for what we do and what we believe in. I really thank you for sharing that. Logan's a big proponent of version 1 is better than version none. So thank you for championing that. Challenge is the rest of the business when being told, but they are a client of the practice when we want to review just for payroll. Challenge the rest of the business when being told, but they are a client of the practice and we just want to review just for payroll. Not quite sure I understand your question there, Cheryl. If you just want to articulate that in a bit, I'm not the brightest of people, so if you can just word that in a way that I can understand it, I'd appreciate that. Excellent news, John. Sounds great, Susan. Kevin, we don't offer bookkeeping services. Our clients are generally higher level, but we do offer payroll services. Bands of 10 employees, great. And management accounts. It doesn't seem worth reviewing every 3 months, but perfect, yeah. If you've got bands in there, you can still do the review, but what bands are is they mean that you've got that flexibility. So even though you review every 3 months, it doesn't mean that they make that leap. That's why we have that bookkeeping banding in there, so they can buffer up and down in that, and down as well. So yeah, if you've got higher level clients in bands of 10 employees, like I say, you don't want to go 3 months and then someone's got 100 new employees. So you can still do the check on a regular basis. But yeah, totally agree with that. But I still think, Kevin, it's worth a phone call. Hey, we've just done a review for your payroll, seeing you've got the same number of staff. Is there anything else we can help you with while I'm doing this review with you? I think it still opens up that conversation. How do you prioritize a backlog of fee reviews? Just putting this separately. You just got to get started, Penny. Get everyone else to do it for you. You could start with the ones who are the furthest out. I know that when Will Farnell did this, he had like 800 clients, I think, and they just did it en masse, and they just sent out the proposals, and they didn't even have time to do it, to have like personal conversations. I don't advocate that if you can avoid that, but if needs must, then I get it as well. But it's just about freeing up the team and starting to chip away at them, and set yourself a target, 10 a week, 10 a day, whatever that's going to be, to really start chipping through those. But I would stick with the ones where you've got the greatest imbalance to start with. Can a proposal be saved so I can start from the last point and amend? 100%. You can save as many drafts as you want. You can keep making edits and have version 1, version 2, version 3, whatever. But when the client gets it sent, they will only see version 1, right? So you can have as many people contributing to that. You could have 20 iterations of the same proposal in draft format up until the point you're ready to send that, Doris. Love the price, love the passion. Thanks, Craig. Cheers, man. Tim, Are you finding these days that clients want to commit or not to commit to price remotely? They never want to see your face-to-face, and that's a shame because I sell better face-to-face for them. Totally agree, Tim. Face-to-face is always better. But Zoom calls like this, I would insist on a Zoom call. I want that face-to-face interaction. I want to be able to look into their eyes as best I can. And if I can't do that actually face-to-face, then I will take this as a second port of call. I'd only do it over the phone or via email if it was for like a very low value client. Does GoProposal keep a record of the client's agreed fees list so we can compare or refer when we want to see who's paying what? Absolutely. All the previous proposals are stored. It's not a CRM system, so I always advocate that you store it in whatever client storage system you've got. We integrate with Center and Carbon as practice management softwares, and then one of the new upgrades to the Center integration is that we're going to pass the proposal over into there as a document as well, but all of the services get automatically passed over to Center or to Carbon, so you've got that record in there. I'd be interested in training. I answered that before, Sue. As much training as you want, dive in, book training with your team. We pick up clients who have the complaint every time. I ask my current accountant for something, I get a bill. Are we not in danger of creating similar issues for constantly sending new proposals? I absolutely agree that we need to do it though. It avoids the surprise bill. You don't want to send it without the conversation, Jason, but we want to be doing this with regularity. And the worst case you're going to get is, Jason, why you keep sending me new proposals? Why can't we just stick to a one fee so I know where I stand? And go back to them and say, well, what's the alternative? You know, you want extra things from me, your business is growing, you need extra things from me. If I don't do this regularly, I'm gonna have to hit you with a surprise bill at the end of the year, or your service level is gonna suffer. And neither of those two things are gonna make either of us happy. Put it back on a way that they understand. If they're a plasterer, say, look, it's just like you, right? You've plastered my room for me, but now I want upstairs doing as well. I would expect to pay for that. So the things that I'm showing you here, I'm gonna help you to do the same. We're not gonna lose money. We provide great value. We deserve to get paid for it, just like you do too. I'm gonna help you to do the same. Would you mention the 1-3-12 service review in the engagement letter or not? Absolutely, Danny. I believe in total transparency. Show them what you're doing, show them why you're doing it, and deal with those questions up front. But I assure you, it demonstrates your commerciality, your entrepreneurialism, and your high-level thinking. They will value it if they're the right time. Alan Davis, thank you. Worth my time listening. Well, I value your time. Alan, I really value that comment. Thank you. Does GoPros keep a record of our clients? Agreed. I've answered that. Fantastic as always. Thank you, Marie. I don't want to increase fees because of possible detriment to the rest of the service provided by the practice. Oh, they don't want to increase the fees because of the possible detriment to the rest of the service provided by the practice. Okay, I'm going to call you, Cheryl, after this, and we're going to chat through this one, and we're going to try and solve it. But either way, if you get resistance from your team, you need to articulate why we're doing this and the benefits to them, the benefits to the client. There's no good telling anybody anything. They need to understand why we're going to go there, because there will be some bumps in the road. So we need to understand. If you're taking someone on a journey and there's bumps in the road, or it gets dark, or it gets scary, they'll want to get out of the car. If they know where they're going to, we're going to the theme park, right? They'll tolerate and put up with the bumps in the road. We need to communicate why we're going there. Anyone who doesn't use GoProposal already, it's the best solution I've found on the market for pricing and presenting a professional proposal. It's a no-brainer. You should have no hesitating in signing up and enjoying all the support. Thank you, Eleanor. I did not cue Eleanor to say that, but I really appreciate that, and we appreciate you, Eleanor. Thank you. We love GoProposal and Go Cardless. The software makes us work better together more efficiently. What do we do about our clients who don't even use email and still use fax? Get rid of them. Get rid of them, Brett. Seriously. We've got a member using GoProposal. They're the top 4 accounting firm in Norway. And I remember telling me, it was like in the 90s, she had a client come to her, and it was a huge, huge client, and they didn't have an email for her to send the information to. And she said, well, you either get one or you don't, we're not signing you. And it was such a huge breaking point for her that she wasn't going to tolerate a standard anything less than what she set for her clients. So they either operate, it's your business, your game, your rules. If they're not prepared to operate by them, I would move them on. Start with the ones you don't mind leaving. This brings everything together so beautifully. Fantastic webinar. Thank you, Penny. Love you. We're aligning with our year end. So in theory, we'll have rolled out to all clients in the next 12 months. Watch this space. Perfect. 12-month period is a great period of time to nail all your fee reviews. We've moved 50% of our current clients onto Go Proposal monthly billing. Time to move on and move the rest over now and start the process for continually reviewing. Beautiful. I raise invoices on the first of the month, so what date would you advise doing the actual fee review so it doesn't affect your cash flow? It's a good question, Paul. It's beyond me, that one. Maybe we should ask the community. You can't get too technical with me about cash flow and first of the month invoices and stuff. End of the month, should we say? Last day of the month? Does that work, Paul? We'll ask the community that one. We'll ask the community. I'm planning on sending some initial general emails to let clients know more about what we can do and follow up on the phone and do a review and address where they are now. System question. If we amend the proposal after 3 months and it creates a new invoice in zero, which we set recurring, does the system remove it? Not at the moment, no. So that is how it's set up at the moment, but to better facilitate the 1-3-12 method, that change is coming in, and you're going to see that in the next few weeks. We're just finishing off the testing for that, Craig, so keep your eyes peeled. What practice management software works best with Go Proposal? Center and Carbon. I see a review as a touch point to tell clients in the first place. We constantly tweak the proposal to work with them. Yep, any excuse for a touch point. Fantastic session, thank you, Carl. What about the time frame for sending proposals as a document to Center? What is the time frame for sending proposals as a document to Center? I would say a couple of months for that one, Eleanor, 2 months. Thank you, great ideas. Thank you, brilliant webinar, thank you. I'd love to see a video example of a well-taken client review. Yeah, and that'd be great idea, Susan. I would love to do that. Let's see if we can arrange that one. You give us a kick up the arse that we needed. Thank you. Very timely webinar. Get ready to refresh Go Proposal to a service review on all of our clients. Guys, it's 11:11. We've still got 80 people on this. I just want to thank you all for taking time out today. Hopefully I've made it a valuable time for you and that you've got this. Taking notes, taking the time out though will not make any difference in your firm at all. Taking action is the only thing that's going to move the needle on your business. It's going to change your business and change your life. All I urge you to do before you open up an email, pick up your phone, do anything, take one step towards making your life better. Take one idea, even if that's just booking time in your diary, even if that's just sending an email, whatever that needs to be. Go and do that thing now. It might be pinging a client and saying, hey, we need to do a fee review next week. When's the best time? Just take that first step now. That will give you the motivation to keep moving forward. Please go and share something on social about this. I'd really value that. Just go and share your biggest insight, your biggest takeaway, your screenshot. And if any of you have taken any screenshots of me in a weird angle or face, you're not allowed to post that because Heather's been doing that recently and she's made me look terrible. So this angle is okay, but not this one. Right, okay, so that's cool. So go and share something, that'd be brilliant. Thanks, guys. Love to you all. See you all soon. Peace.